Dan, welcome.
Hey mate, how are you?
Coming live from a shed in Liverpool.
Yeah, you're in Kelsall. They've got a mank in Kelsall. I'm in trouble.
So they stuck him in the shed.
Yeah, they have, yeah.
Right. So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the third episode of the 6 sessions. Each week I get to chat to somebody doing something amazing in the growth space, be that marketing, sales, or CX. My plan is to interview people doing cooler shit than I am, hopefully making me a better and more interesting person in the process. Each week I'm supposed to be asking our guests 6 questions over 6 minutes, but over the first 2 episodes, I failed miserably and asked more questions and spent way more time than I was supposed to. But I've enjoyed the conversations and nobody's actually paying for any of these series, so you get what you're given. This is a live video, so we're going to try and keep it short and sweet, and it's definitely unfiltered, which may or may not be an issue with today's guest. This week, it's my pleasure to introduce you to someone I've never actually spoken to before. We've traded messages, but mostly I've just admired his work from afar. As we're of the same belief, your marketing doesn't necessarily have to appeal to everybody. Sometimes it can offend. Dan Kelsall is co-founder of Offended.Marketing, based here in Manchester. He's a published author and seems fairly comfortable with sharing opinions. And we even share a client who I won't name, but is currently running around Manchester in a PVC outfit. So with all that in mind, I'm excited to welcome Dan on. Dan, welcome.
Hello, mate. It's good to finally meet you.
Yeah, you too, mate. You do. And I'm upset that we're finally meeting on a Friday afternoon, but we're not doing it with beers in hand. So
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I'm saying that I'm in Liverpool, so it's tier 2. So I will be getting some food and a beer in about half an hour.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice. So first up, how's 2020 going for you guys?
We've been very fortunate, mate. We're very, very fortunate in that for some reason we've kind of probably won more business than I think we've ever won before. And some of the accounts are pretty big accounts. We've been very, very lucky in that respect. And I think maybe it's a sign of the times, a sign of the pandemic, but people are almost panic marketing. You know, they're wondering why nobody's buying anything anymore. Things have changed dramatically, so everyone's just kind of scrambling to figure out what the next big thing is. And I think everyone's thought, you know, he's a bit different. Let's give it a go. So we've been very, very lucky, mate. And whether we'll continue to be that lucky, I don't know. But we've been fortunate.
It's nice to hear. Like, there's plenty of like war stories being traded around with businesses who are just struggling. It's that kind of like not panic buying, but like you offer. I won't kind of ruin the rest of the questions, but you guys offer like a different vein to what a lot of other agencies and kind of marketing teams can offer.
Yeah.
So top level, what's your business? What does Offended do?
It's a good question. Offended, you know, you could call us a creative agency. We're a team of copywriters, videographers, and designers that put together wacky marketing and advertising ideas for clients. We don't dabble in the media buying stuff because we're not clever enough, but we do all the other weird shit. And that's essentially what we do. We are actually going into launching our own clothing line, which will be hopefully have some of the most offensive adverts a clothing line's ever seen. And we're actually building a training course, which I say training course, it's more like an animated Rick and Morty-esque thing that teaches you a couple of things about marketing. So, but yeah, that's the plans for 2021.
And what's your role at Offended? Like, what do you actually do?
So they say creative director, but I don't know what the fuck that is because I've never been one before.
It's a fucking cool title though, right? Like throughout my career, I've always wanted to be a creative director just because it sounds cool.
It does sound cool, doesn't it? But I think we're just the creative knobheads in the corner who have tantrums and everyone just doesn't really like. But I'm basically the ideas guy. I'm the ideas guy. I'm the guy who sits there and thinks of the wackiest things we can do. I'm the guy who grabs clients by the scruff of the neck and drags them left to center.
Are we talking about Gareth?
Yeah, like our shared client, Gareth gets made to dress up in bondage gear. He's a broken man now, isn't he? Let's be honest. But yeah, that's my job. My job is just to drag people left to center and to challenge ideas, challenge the status quo, and get people doing and thinking differently.
Has it ever gone wrong? Have you ever like dragged somebody far enough where they've gone, fuck, that was the wrong move?
Yeah, oh mate, tons of time. Gareth being one. Ask Gareth about Project Profit. So once when we first started with him, I said, why don't we pretend Karoo's a cult, and we'll dress you up as a prophet, and then we'll get all your little guys who work for you, your little minions dressed in, monks' robes, and then we'll get you stood in Piccadilly Gardens in Manchester with a megaphone preaching the good word of Carew and giving out the good book of Carew. Within about 10 minutes, someone was a smackhead was trying to stab him. So that was probably the worst. I mean, honestly, it got hairy. At one point, I thought, this is going to boot off here. So yeah, I don't think we'll ever go that far again. But we've been in trouble a few times. We get a lot of campaigns rejected as well. We work with some bigger clients. One of them's one of the biggest gaming and betting groups in the world. And I've already, this month I've already had 3 ad campaigns rejected and 1 accepted. So 1 in 4, not bad.
I'd like, if it were me, I'd personally see it as a challenge to see how many you can get rejected.
Just put them on the wall.
Yeah.
Just my campaigns I've rejected. I wouldn't have enough space, mate.
So what got you into marketing to begin with?
Probably because I was shit at everything else, mate. I think I've had numerous companies that have all failed. I had a stint trying to be a cage fighter for a while. The problem with that is I can't fight. I've had 3 novels rejected because I can't write apparently either. And then I went into copywriting for a tax business just because I needed a job. And then I haven't been able to get out of the industry since.
Nice.
So if anybody wants to buy Offended and release me from my marketing shackles, I'll accept probably a lot lower amount than you'd think.
Packet of crisps and a pint.
Yeah, that'll do me. Yeah.
Why? So why Offended? Like, a lot of agencies are trying to appeal to everybody, right? So you're obviously not. So what kind of started you down that pathway? Because I'm guessing, and like, without putting words in your mouth, I'm guessing you didn't start off to go, actually, I'm going to try and piss off a bunch of people and use that as my mechanism to grow necessarily. Or maybe you did, but like, why did you start with Offended?
I don't know, mate. I think I've been brought up by a family of males that are all naturally anti-establishment. And I think that's kind of influenced a lot of the way I think. I always pretend I'm an anarchist. Well, how can you be an anarchist when I'm balls deep in capitalism, trying to build a business?
Yeah, I can see the AirPods in your ear.
Mate, these aren't mine. I was going to say these are not mine. These are Dino's. I borrowed them because I'm in this fucking shed. But I think I started Offended just because I was sick of dry vanilla marketing. I think everyone's become ad blind nowadays. You walk down the street, you see ads, billboards, ads everywhere. You scroll through social media, it's ad. People trying to sell to you in your inbox all the time. Everyone's ad blind. Nobody gives a fuck about it anymore. So, and yet the messaging seems to have got more vanilla since the 80s. So it doesn't make sense. Like, more ads, people paying even less attention to them, and yet the actual messaging and the market and the things that people are saying is fucking drier than a piece of white dog shit. So I don't understand why it's gone that way. And I think for me it was just about, right, how do I change that? How do we bring back a bit of the 80s flair? Maybe not as sexist and offensive, but how do we bring that sort of 80s flair? How do we say things that people care about? And in the meantime, if that polarizes opinion, and if that eventually offends people that would never buy off you anyway, is it a problem? And that's kind of where the whole mantra came from, and the name.
Who kind of like inspired you into that though? So like you reference like some like 80s flair. Like, are there people that you looked up to in that space?
Yeah, I mean, Oliviero Toscani, the photographer for United Colours of Benetton. They're some of my favourite ad campaigns of all time. And I actually got to see him speak live via Take Fucking Risks, an event run by Paul Mellor and team Mellor and Smith down in London, which is a brilliant event. And I got to see him talk about it and talk about the photographs of donkey dicks that he'd done and the huge condom that he put on a tower in Paris. The man's been in trouble his entire life, and it's just refreshing to see someone that's still, that kind of encapsulates everything that we're all about. And you don't get that anymore.
One of my like favorite things that I've seen you done, there's 2 that like spring to mind, other than like the ritual humiliation of Gareth. There is the carousel one that you did that was Boris Johnson's a knob, along those lines.
Oh yeah, the big knob.
Yeah.
That's been taken down. That's been removed, and somebody took that down. Yeah, LinkedIn wankers. And
the other was get this knob a job. Like, just the story behind it. Like, do you want to explain what that was? Because I think like it's just a great piece of like, it's not even marketing, just a great thing to be doing, particularly nowadays.
Yeah. So my best mate, and he is a knob. but I love him. And he decided to take his career to the next level by quitting his job in a pandemic, which was the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And then he was quickly realised he was fucked. And I thought, we've got to do something. I said to him, I could try a post. And he's like, no, fuck that. You just take the piss out of me. And then the whole world's going to know that I'm, an idiot and the teeth are too big. I look like a horse, right? And I was like, well, I won't do it too badly. And that's what I came up with. And when he got, the more desperate he got, the more I realised I could go quite far with this. But yeah, I mean, generally the reception was brilliant on it, and bar a few on there, and a few private messages actually by people who were quite high up, going, "Oh, I think you've really done your mate a disservice there. You've really damaged his career by doing what you did." And like, these are people in the recruitment industry and things. And then a week later he's got a job, a promotion, and he's at HSS. So I was like messaging him back, going, "Fucking, I should do your job, mate." Got him a job in a week. But I think a lot of that was Jack's personality as well. I think once he gets on the phone to people, he is a nice guy, and he deserves all the success, and I'm chuffed for him. And also, I don't have to buy his beers anymore, so that's always a positive.
So what excites you most about marketing at the moment?
What excites me most?
I'm aware that's a fucking wanky question, but like, what is it? Like, what are what's the direction, or like what kind of stuff to work on really kind of float your boat?
I'll tell you what I like now. I like that there's a new wave. There's not just us anymore. There's a new wave of 80s style thinkers. There's the likes of yourself. There's other marketing agencies out there now that are going, you know what? It is fucking shit, this. Let's do something different. And I like that. There's something coming back. And I think if you look on LinkedIn now, a lot of the messaging in between the wanky, humble brags and blah, 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 there's a few people cropping up now that have got something to say. And whether we all agree, that's kind of not the point. It's good that we don't agree. But, and I'll respect anyone, even if I don't agree with their opinion, if they've got something to say and they stand by it. And I think that's exciting me, because that's coming back. That's coming back. Other than that, I just like anyone who's doing something different. I'm a big fan of anyone who's trying anything different. If you're setting up a marketing agency now to do something that's always been done, or to be the same as another fucking 100 marketing agencies out there, just fuck off. Don't bother. We don't need any more. We don't need any more of you. But other than that, I think I think that there is a new wave of people, a different way of thinking. People are realizing that being offended is a choice, and also, I think nowadays people aren't as offended by things as they used to be. They're offended by things that matter, right? Like racism, sexism, and things like that. But they're not as offended by other things, like they're not as offended by dick jokes or porn or sex. Or it's not a big deal. And we can use that in marketing. Yes, even for the dry companies, can a tax business use sex in their marketing? Yeah, why the fuck not? 2020. You don't think so? Get a grip.
What are you working on at the moment? Anything interesting?
What are we working on at the moment? A lot of pictures at the minute. We're just trying to kind of make sure that we're okay for next year. I don't want to be in a position for next year where we lose a couple of clients and we're in real trouble. So we're really working hard to try and secure as much business as possible. That's why we're down here today. That's kind of the biggest thing. Working on a few different campaigns for like I say, there'll be a couple next year which we'll be able to announce, which are for a big betting and gaming group. So they've got like big hiring drives and stuff. So we'll do some employer branding campaigns and things for them. But I'm excited about that, because that's we're going to be pushing some boundaries there and doing things that I think this business haven't done before.
Do you guys?
I'll talk about it next year.
Do you guys have like sectors you will or won't work with?
No, nowadays, mate, no. It's just no. It's more about the people. So we never say it's not sector specific, because it's funny, because Dino always says, "Oh, we're really going to work with them." But the more boring the business, the more excited I am by it, because if you don't have to go that far with a boring business. Yeah. You don't have to say, if you go into an industry like cybersecurity or tax or things, you don't have to push boundaries that far for people to go, "What the fuck? That's new." So it's actually more exciting taking on boring businesses. But we take on an industry. It's more about the person's appetite for it. And we do a lot of we didn't used to do as much. We made a few mistakes in not doing it, but we do a lot of due diligence now in terms of making sure that they are the right sort of person, that they've got an appetite for risk, that they've got the sort of voice that people will like. Because the fact of the matter is, if we're going to
find out if they've got that appetite for risk though? Like how do you push that in the sales process?
Well, a lot of it is we chuck ideas at them. So we go old school agency on them, and a lot of people we get told off a lot for this. People say, "Are you an idiot? You'll end up running across someone like Brewdog, who'll nick all your ideas, right?" But fuck Brewdog. But the rest of them, we do old school agency props. We put a load of ideas and campaigns together and creative and billboards and this is what we could do. This is how far we could go. And what about this? And you know from meeting them, if you got, because I try and go as far as I can, that if you put that in front of them, they go, oh no, it's already game over. I didn't like that. It's a really good way of
try and rein you in. Did the team ever go like, "Fuck Dan, you've probably gone too far this time"?
A couple of times. We tried to do or I tried to do a client testimonial videos for our new websites are finally nearly finished. But we're going to do some client testimonials on there. And I said, well, why? It'd be well funny if we had it like they were reading like they've been kidnapped. And then they're reading off this thing about, oh, yes, Offended are great. It was great working with Offended. And then it just zooms out temporarily and there's two blokes there with guns and balaclavas. And everyone was like, you can't fucking do that. Like, literally, like, I showed the team it and they were like, and Dean was like, there is no way on earth putting that. It looks like terrorism. It looks like it will kill our brand. And we're supposed to be offended, but that's ridiculous. So that's the one time I went too far. Other than that, I kind of try and get the team to go that far. Because I say to the team, you go as far as you want, because I'd rather pull you back than have to push you forward.
So yeah, I think Dean was probably right reining that one in. But like,
it's a great principle
of like getting saying to the team, like, I'd rather be able to kind of pull you back in than pushing. I think there's a great like takeaway out of it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think that's us, mate. I think we've done a full 11 minutes over what we're supposed to do. So I think that's about right. That's good.
Well,
so Dan, thanks for being up for doing the 6 sessions out of a shed.
No problem whatsoever, mate.
I can see how cold it is with the breath coming out there.
Yeah, it is actually. I've got a heater here behind me, luckily. So,
if anyone wants to follow up with you, how should they connect with you?
Just either connect me on LinkedIn or pop me an email. It's easy. It's Dan@Offended.Marketing.
Perfect.
Or if you want to speak to someone nicer than me, speak to Dean at Offended.Marketing. And yeah, just any questions or anything you've got, or any work or any whatever. I don't care. I'm lonely.
Just a chat.
Just chat. Talk to me.
And where can people check out Offended? Because you're saying that like the new site's not quite ready yet, or do you want me to suggest everybody go and buy the book?
The new site will be up by December, so you better check us out there. There's plenty of work on there and weird stuff and weird pictures. We've drawn Fizz from Corrie on the toilet. That's my favourite picture. Oh no, my favourite picture is Alan Turing outside Greg's having a sausage roll. That's my favourite image. But yeah, we're looking forward to that launching. And then next year, hopefully we're going to try and get some of the clothing out before Christmas. But next year, the training course will be launching. Should be hilarious.
What platform are you putting it on?
What are we going to, what?
What platform are you putting the training on?
It'll probably be through something like LearnDash, and then we'll integrate it in with the site, so it'll just be white labeled. But yeah, I mean, don't bother subscribing if you're easily offended, because it's one of them. It'll teach you stuff, but it's also a bit, it's a bit me.
Any parting wisdom you want to share with everybody Friday afternoon?
I think the pandemic's shown us that the world can go tits up in about 2 seconds. So start taking more fucking risks. Life's too short. Stop being vanilla, stop being dry, stop being boring.
Nice. I like it. Right. Thanks, everybody. See you next week. We've got Gavin Flood joining us from AdRoll. Gavin's a good friend. We've been working with him for a long time, and he normally has a lot to say. So I'm looking forward to drilling him full of questions. Cool. Cheers, Dan.
Cool, mate. My pleasure. Good to meet you, man.